The individual sport athlete is an independent who relies solely on creating their own successes or failures based on their respective talents and abilities. As individual sport athletes prepare for a season, these athletes set high, realistic goals for themselves when training as well as competing. Sophomore Emily Eckhoff is in her second year as a member of the Hastings College bowling team. Eckhoff says she takes her goals one step at a time to ensure she doesn't set goals that are too high for herself.
If I set a too high goal for me, then I know I'm going to fail myself and others that believe in me, but I know that I can definitely set those certain goals and improve each time to try to get there, and I know I really want to do it, so I'm just pushing myself each time.
Individual sport athletes are motivated differently than team sport athletes are. Team sports, such as football, might be motivated to win 10 games in a season, while individual sport athletes are more motivated by a range of tasks and goals. Senior Lauren Showmaker takes part in individual sports throughout the longevity of the entire school year. In the fall, she competes in cross country, and in the winter, she participates in indoor track, moving to the outdoor track season in the spring. Shoemaker says she is motivated by the constant love of her sport.
The best way that I stay motivated is just to think about how much I do love the sport I'm in. I mean, I think any athlete could say that if they've ever doubted their love for the sport is kind of when they start to lose motivation. So when it comes down to it, you just have to be in love with what you're doing.
Both individual team sport athletes and team sport athletes are typically overcome with a feeling of anxiety before a competition. Successful athletes are able to reduce this anxiety without losing the intensity that is associated with it. There are many ways that athletes cope with anxiety before competition. Some techniques include visualization, goal setting, cognitive restructuring, relaxation techniques, developing self-confidence. Some athletes even try to just distract themselves. Senior cross-country runner Matt Bax has his own particular way of dealing with anxiety before he competes.
I'll be the one that's dancing around, obviously, just because that's my attitude, and I'll be dancing around with Fancy by Iggy playing the entire time because that's like our team song this year for some reason. But I'll be the one dancing around trying to get everyone to just stay loose, stay mentally strong, don't want them to get down on themselves.
Concentration entails the ability to focus on the task at hand without being affected or disturbed by internal or external distractions. Senior men's tennis player McKay Inman considers his sport to be both individual and team. When it comes to concentration, Inman uses an external broad attentional skill, meaning his focus comes from the environment and those around him.
You only can qualify for nationals team-wise. There's no individual aspect. So it does become part of a team, and we've done a really good job of creating a culture where it's, cheering loudly for the other players, and I think that, that helps me, if I miss a shot or something and you hear, 8 other guys chant, saying it's all right, it's okay, come on, let's go. It kind of makes you almost forget about that last shot.
Individual sport is a sport in which participants compete as individuals. These athletes compete and think in ways that compare to that of team sport athletes. These Hastings College athletes are examples of how some individual sport athletes are influenced psychologically in sport. For HC Media, I'm Dan Miller.